NBA Today, where we begin our show in the Bay Area, where it seems that no one can just take a self-appointed timeout in peace anymore. The Warriors taking on the Magic here in this one. Mark Spears, Ramona Shelburne alongside me. Let's pick this up late in the second quarter. Warriors up by 1. Kerr nearly turns it over, but Mark, he gets this drive to go.
I'm glad he's back healthy and playing great basketball again.
Kerr misses the 3 there. Curry corrals the rebound, throws it ahead to Jimmy Butler. Jimmy, good teammate, passes to Draymond. Draymond, the volleyball pass back to Jimmy Butler. Butler had 16 points in the first half, so the Warriors up 1 going into halftime. But Ramona, here is where the drama happens. This is where Draymond Green, he commits the turnover, and then Tyus Jones, he gets fouled by Quentin Post after the steal. Draymond, it looks like he's saying call the foul. I'm not sure what foul he's talking about, but the Magic up 3 after the free throw. And then next possession here, same score, Anthony Black gets the layup to go. And Green still visibly frustrated here. So Steve Kerr has to call a timeout. Green is still having a conversation with the referees. And then during the timeout, this is the moment that everyone's paying attention to. A really heated exchange between Kerr and Green. They're arguing. Green has to leave and go back to the locker room. He stayed there for the remainder of the third quarter. He returned prior to the fourth quarter, but he didn't re-enter the game here. There is still some game to be played for the Golden State Warriors. Back to that in a moment. Gary Payton finds Curry, knocks down the 3.
Well, and they've had problems closing games out, and I thought that was, I know, that's a new one.
Yeah, a little boogie for Curry there.
Oh, that's new.
Kerr turns it over. Steph throws the alley-oop to Payton for the dunk, and Curry, he is loving it. Steph is feeling it at this point. Warriors up by 14. Steph Curry from deep. You know he's going to nail that 3. He finished with 26 points. But let's go back to that exchange between Kerr and Green.
Temper spilled over, and I just thought it was best that I got out of there. I don't think there was a situation where it was going to get better. So it was just best to remove myself, you know. That's it. You know, we've been at this now for a long time, you know. So sometimes you're with people for a long time, there's a level of comfort, and it happens. We move forward.
We had it out a little bit, and, you know, he made his decision to go back to the locker room to cool off, and that's all I'm going to say about it. It's everything is private, and yeah, I got nothing further to add.
Would you? I mean, he didn't play the last 20 minutes. Would you have gone back to?
No, he wasn't going back in.
All right, so Ramona, Steve is saying that tempers flared here, and he's going to leave it at that. But this is what reporters are for, to fill in those gaps here. And you were just speaking with Draymond Green.
Yeah, I mean, Draymond essentially said, I've been in those situations with Steve before.
Right.
And they've gone so far to the left that it's hard to come back from. And he's been in so many of these. He just said, you know, it was best for everybody that before things go too far south, I'm going to remove myself from a situation that's not going to cool down. And so he took himself out of the game, went back to the locker room. And now, from what I understand, he also spoke to General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. there after the game. They cleared the air. Draymond wanted to talk to the media afterwards. And so I don't expect there to be any further discipline coming in this situation.
You know, I think every team needs an Anthony Vereen. If you look, he left the second row of the bench, walked around, got Draymond, and walked around with them to the bench and then to the locker room. It's kind of the Draymond whisperer. Mike Brown, as you know, used to be that guy that kind of calmed things down. And other players came in the locker room, but I think it was important for Vereen to de-escalate the situation, be the person that Draymond could yell at instead of yelling at Steve. And they didn't need another situation with Draymond. Right.
Yeah, and I think he understood that too, and that's real growth for him, because in years past that would have escalated. Look, they haven't been playing that well, and whenever they lose a game, Steve Kerr looks into the camera and says, it's not offense, it's not defense, it's turnovers, okay? And that was his first turnover of the game. I think Steve was making a point. Like, you can yell at Draymond. He's not going to, he's going to probably yell back. But you can't yell at everybody else. And I think Steve was trying to make a point, like, we're going to nip this in the bud. They were losing focus. He didn't want it to get out of control again. He's had 15 turnovers the last 4 games. And so strike one, there was a quick reaction from Steve.
And there's been times in the past where Draymond hasn't taken himself out of a situation, and he's been criticized for that as well. So he does something differently this time. And it does, I think it's important what Steph Curry said about in the locker room, we're bumping music afterwards. It doesn't feel as negative inside of these rooms and these walls as maybe the coverage is indicating. communicating. And when Steph says that, I think we need to listen. But the most important part of this, Ramona, is the Warriors' play. And Draymond Green, he has 75 turnovers on the season and only 72 made field goals. And that is the problem for the Golden State Warriors. So I want to bring in our front office insider here, Bobby Marks, into the conversation. Bobby, it all comes down to the level of play. Draymond is one of the smartest players that I have ever been around, and obviously he knows that.
Well, you're right. I mean, I think when you look at what Draymond has done in the past, and certainly what he has done this year here, no offense, Malika, they've been a better team the last two games than when he was thrown out of that Phoenix game and last night in Orlando here, getting those 2 wins in a row. And I think when you look at this situation, what happened, I think there's 2 ways that you could look at it. You could say, hey, there's the relationship between him and Steve Kerr. There's 12 years there. There's over 1,000 games. This is Golden State. This is a typical Draymond Green flare-up during the course of the year. And then there's the other way to look at it here. Here's the guy that's got 2 years left on his contract. And as you said, this team is average right now. They've struggled during here. And what is best for this organization moving forward? And I'm not advocating they start looking at trade scenarios for Draymond Green, but I do think eventually you're going to have that hard conversation here.
Right, because around the same time last year, the Warriors, they were a 15-15 team as well. They were a 500 team around Christmas, just like they are right now. And what did they do? They made an enormous trade to bring in Jimmy Butler, and they thought that that was going to be the thing that propelled this team back into the upper echelons of the West.
And I know I'm hearing, too, that Draymond's a little frustrated with having to guard centers and having to guard guys that are 40, 50 pounds heavier than him on a nightly basis.
But he's always got the ball in his hands, though. That's why he runs their offense. So he's going to have more turnovers. He's always there. They just don't have the same margin for error that they have had.
Absolutely, particularly when you're looking at the Thunder at the top of the Western Conference. Because remember when Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said that his whole life is consistent? That was so smooth. And so is this. On Monday, he recorded his 100th straight 20-point game. He joined Wilt Chamberlain as the only players in NBA history to reach that mark, and here is how he did it. The Thunder in action against the Memphis Grizzlies here. Remember, no John Morant as he's dealing with that ankle injury. Shai gets in the lane, hits that smooth little floater, fall into the ground mark as well.
I mean, he's just special.
He is. We're running out of words for it. Gilgeous-Alexander walks into that straight-on three. That's something that's been a point of improvement for him this year. Fielded it early here. But then Jalen Williams, a highlight of the night, snatches it down on Christian Koloko. Another look at that one. Taking the screws out the rim.
Koloko just got there, and he was
and look at his twin, Jalen Williams. Oh, my gosh. Hide your young ones from something like that. And then ring the bell. Got to have more cowbell. It's closing time. It was the closing moments for SGA here. Step back three on the right wing. Gets that one to go. And then a few minutes later, he said, all right, why don't we try another one here, Ramona?
I mean, just that. Like, has he been watching James Harden videos?
I don't know who he was watching for this next move. Because check this out, Mark. Gilgeous-Alexander, he picks up his dribble.
Oh, my gosh.
Pivot. Kicks it to Brandon Carlson and hits the corner three.
Is he doing Globetrotter stuff now?
I mean, look at the smile on his face after this pass. This is just silly.
To get in trouble for
Mark Dagnall was asked about this after the game.
Coach would yell at me for that.
Mark, which day of training camp did you practice the off the backboard kick out into the corner?
Yeah, that's not part of the curriculum.
Really? I thought it was day 3 of the curriculum. This is just Shai doing what Shai does, creating some space, hits the jumper from the free throw line. He finished with a cool 31, 10, and 8. Let's take a listen to Shai Butter after the game.
My teammates let me shoot whatever shots I want to out there. The coaching staff trust me, and I put in work to get better each and every day. Look up and accomplish a few things. We still got to get better in the half court, still got to make steps. We weren't our best tonight. We did enough to win, but we still got to get better.
So let's talk about Shai, because he leads the NBA in 30-point games this season. He has 22 of them so far, and that is tied for the most by any player before Christmas since the merger. And we've talked about areas of improvement for Shai, and three-point shooting, it was certainly one of them. But he's put in the work this offseason, and it shows. I feel like I should maybe whisper when I say this, because it's kind of a nightmare before Christmas for the rest of the league.
Yep.
SGA is making a career best 44% of his threes. Wow. And we call him Shai Butter because he's a smooth operator. And we're talking about how the Thunder operate with him on the court, because Shai has the best plus-minus in the NBA by 90 points. Wow. So when he plays, the Thunder win, and baby, they win
90 points.
Yes, I did. So for anyone tracking, Mr. Marks, Shai has 909 points in 932 minutes this season, so he's nearly at a point per minute. What has he done to continue to elevate his game here?
Well, you didn't mention the two numbers there, Malika.
Oh, no.
He's shooting 58% and 52% in December. 52% from three in the month of December. Wow. How about that? But I do think it starts with that the three-point percentage here. Here's a player that was roughly around 35% last year. That's up to 44% this year. The ability to stretch the floor, the ability to get to the rim. 50% on jumpers. This is a guard shooting better, right at 50% on jumpers here. So we thought, did Shea have another gear left after they won a championship last year? The answer is definitely yes. And you can see what he's been able to do so far.
And that's why he is leading the pack when we talk about the MVP conversation. It is a tight 2 days away from Santa Perk coming to town. So let's grab the reindeer and go coast to coast. A little 7-game slate last night. The Nuggets, they beat the Jazz. Jokic, he picked up his ho-hum 14th triple-double of the season. He's now the first player ever to lead the league in total rebounds and assists entering Christmas Day. Ramona, is it possible that he's on pace for his best season yet?
I think he's having his best season yet. And it's amazing to say because he's been so great for the past 8 years, but this is the next level. This is in 3 quarters, by the way. I mean, I looked up and they were up 16-0, and then they were up 40-15 after the first quarter. So this was like a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander kind
I was going to say, dare we say 3 quarters? It's Shea-esque. How about the Boston Celtics? Don't look now, but they beat the Pacers. Jaylen Brown has scored at least 30 points in every game in December. Whoa. That's 7 straight. Wow. And they're 3rd in the East, Bobby. So does Jaylen maybe deserve some more MVP consideration?
He should. I had him in the top 5 in the latest Tim Bontemps straw poll here. So I'm giving love to Jaylen Brown. 31, 50, and 40 in his last 10 games, the 3rd best record in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, the Celtics surprising some people. And you know who else has been a surprise recently in a good way?
Hey.
The Pelicans. Yeah. They have won 5 in a row after beating the Mavs yesterday. Zion excelling off the bench. Derek Queen is slaying all rookies. Total rebounds and assists, he leads them. So, Mark, what is the most impressive thing about this streak?
What a difference it makes when Zion plays. When Zion plays, they win. And guess what the Pelicans did? They grabbed their blanket, they grabbed their pillow, and they're out of the Western Conference basement now, making cafe au lait in the kitchen.
I was going to say king cake, but maybe that's a little too early. All right, too early for king cake. Shams reported this morning, though, that the league is gathering some input from teams on the ways to combat tanking here. This is something that they've done before, but this could include tweaks to the lottery pick, protections in trades. Bobby, what's important to know for fans here?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is the protections here. You can protect picks certainly 1 to 14 or 1 to 30, whatever, or 1 to 29, however you want to do. But there is a consensus among people that eliminating, protecting picks from 5 to 13. Remember, Malika, 2 years ago, Dallas arrested players because they didn't want to have that pick conveyed to New York if it fell outside the top 10. Well, that would go away with these tanking measures that the league is talking about.
All right, Bobby. Well, we'll get back to that in a little bit. Let's talk about the Cavaliers. They snapped a 3-game losing streak against the Hornets last night. Donovan Mitchell averaging a career-high 30 points per game, and he was doing it again here, Mr. Spears.
He's been sick for a few days, and he just came back, and obviously he looks like he's getting healthier.
Poor Concanipple gets crossed up there. Darius Garland gets in the lane. The Cavs up 57-56. This was a struggle, though, against the Charlotte Hornets here. Garland hits the 3. They needed that one to go. They've struggled shooting, and that's such a big part of this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Mitchell, once again, shoots it from deep. Bank was open, hits it from the buzzer. He had 18 points in the first half as we take another look at that one. The Cavaliers up by 7 at the break here. But jumping to the 4th quarter, this was still a tight game. Cleveland up 104-95. Lonzo Ball finds a cutting Donovan Mitchell. Layup plus the foul, so the Cavaliers up after the made free throws.
Lonzo LaMelo game.
And then this is what they've been waiting for. Garland lobbing it up to Jared Allen for the slam. So Mitchell has 30 points. Garland has 27 points. And the Cavaliers, they go on to narrowly escape the Charlotte Hornets here. But Mitchell and Garland combined for 57. That's actually the first time this season that the Cavs all-star backcourt each went for 25 in the same game. They did get the win, but it wasn't the dominant performance a title contender hopes to have against one of the league's bottom dwellers. And Donovan Mitchell opened up to our Mark Spears for the latest installment of his diary series for Anscape.
Mentally, we got to find it. We're 29 games in. You know, we're not a playoff team right now. We're not playing like it. We have the talent, we have the group, but we're not playing like it, and that's on the 15 of us. We have to find it collectively. It's not on just one individual.
Mitchell weaves his way inside. He lays it in.
As a group, you just got to find it. And when I say it, it can be some joy, it can be tactically, it can be spirit, it can be anything, bro. We just got to find it. We're at that crossroad, right?
Donovan Mitchell has been unbelievable. 30.5 points a night, just under 50% from the field.
He's really played like Superman for us, quite honestly. You know, without him, how many wins do we have?
The only guy who's been him has been Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell has been awesome to start the year.
It's not fun being around me. There's a standard, right? A level of accountability. And I think my job as a leader is I only hold myself accountable, but everybody as well. I think when I first got to the league, it was very Rick Pitino-esque. Like cussing and letting it out and be like, what do you do? Like, no, like everybody's different. So as I've grown over my career, leadership and losing still pains me the same way, but I think how I express it is different. The injuries are real. Like, you know, yeah, we haven't had the same lineup. We've had the most injuries, or second, third most injuries in the league. Like, you know, those are obviously real things, right? But we don't even have our current identity right now, which I think that's the part where it's like we can hang our hat on X. Playing on Christmas, it means the world. I think it's a reflection of what we did last year, who we are, could be. To be able to play in the Garden, for me, is back home, back at the crib, get to stay in my house, get to be around my friends and family. To then play on Christmas at the Garden is going to be a special night. I let everybody know Christmas game don't hit me up for nothing, right? We play there 3 more times. But it's definitely a privilege, it's an honor, and, you know, one I definitely won't forget.
It's time for a live animated game between the Cavaliers and the Knicks.
The character's cool. The beard looks crazy, but like the character I think is cool. I mean, I've been trying to grow this one for about 29 years, so it's a work in progress, but I'm glad that I got the full beard on, at least on my character. Jared Allen. I think J.A. is for sure the prime candidate for being excited to be animated. I haven't spoken to him, I don't know if he is, but if there was one person, it would be J.A. for sure.
They really did nail the fro in the animated version there for Jared Allen. But a lot there. Always a great installment of your Diary series, Mark, because players, they're so vulnerable and they reveal so much. And Donovan said it very plainly. He said, quote, "We're not a playoff team right now." Did you get the sense from talking to him that he believes that they can and will be?
Yeah, he thinks, I think this Christmas game is something great for him. He's acknowledging their injuries, but he feels like they're better than that. And one thing you got to remember about this team, they had no adversity the whole season last year.
Right.
And then it hit them in the postseason. Now they're hoping that this adversity that they're having, they could flip it and turn it into something special.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like every time I look up, somebody's out for 2 to 3 weeks on that team, and it's hard to find a consistency. But the fact that they got Garland out there hitting threes, and he's, you know, we're not talking about the turf toe every game. I know he's still dealing with some of that, but they don't even have Evan Mobley right now.
Sure, and the fact of the matter is, Allen, Mobley, Garland, Mitchell, they've only played, their big four has played 4 games, and if you add Max Strus into that, they played a total of 0. So aside from health here, Bobby, and I want to acknowledge that is a huge factor here, but time is also a factor for the Cavaliers. What needs to happen for them moving forward?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, they're facing the biggest luxury tax penalty in franchise history. They're the only team in the second apron. And you guys know what happens when you don't get to an NBA championship and you're in the second apron. Your roster basically deconstructs the next offseason here. But Mark hit it right on the head. I think them going through adversity is the best thing because let's face it, they folded in that Indiana series after basically cruising to the number 1 seed. But they've got to get Evan Mobley back. They got to get Max Strus back. Malik, 9 different starting lineups of this group in the last 15 games, 6 and 9. And as Donovan said, they got to find that identity. The identity is on the defensive end, bottom 10 in the league right now.
And they have to find that consistency because the question is, can they be healthy in April and be a top 6 team? Because this is the team that won 64 games last year, and ultimately it didn't matter. But we know that Donovan Mitchell is... So the Thunder and Spurs, they play each other twice in the next 3 days, and that means we get a little bit more fodder for one of the most entertaining young rivalries, even if they don't call it that. Now, the numbers. Victor's having a career year in scoring and rebounds, but his defense out of this world, averaging a league-best 3.3 blocks a night. As for Chet, he's putting up career numbers offensively, and he's doing it efficiently. And he leads the best defensive team in blocks. Now, I love that the individual chatter now has real winning stakes here attached, right? Because the Spurs and Thunder, they're the top 2 seeds in the Western Conference, and the Spurs are one of 3 teams to have beaten the Thunder this season. So we'd like to welcome in our reporter, Tim McMahon. Howdy, Tim.
Howdy, Malika.
See, that always makes my day. All right, the Spurs, they've been a little bit cautious with Victor coming off of the bench here in his last 5 games. He is questionable for this one tonight. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, they've been erring on the side of caution with him. That's why he's coming off the bench. Basically, they said, would you rather start or would you rather finish? He wants to finish games. Whether he plays tonight, still up in the air. What I can tell you is that he was a full participant in this morning's shoot-around, which I think you have to consider as a good sign, but they still have him listed as questionable as of now.
Okay, and it's for that injury management, right? Managing that calf strain that kept him out for so long. On the other side of this, I'm looking at the Thunder, and they started Brandon Carlson as their center against the Grizzlies in the last game. Will we see Chet Holmgren back in the lineup for OKC?
We will see both of the Thunder 7-footers. Isaiah Hartenstein also managing the calf injury, sat out last night. So did Chet Holmgren. Now, Hartenstein was on the bench. Holmgren met the team at the plane, sat in the back so he wouldn't get his teammates sick. He's under the weather. He's fighting through this. But look, this is a competitor. He wants to play against the Spurs. He wants to play against his rival, non-rival, whatever they want to call it, Victor Wembanyama. I don't think this will be the first time that they have a conversation because Wemby probably does want to stay as far away from Chet as possible, but you will see Chet Holmgren alongside Isaiah Hartenstein in the OKC starting lineup tonight.
Okay, yes, Chet, yes, Isaiah Hartenstein. We're waiting on Victor Wembanyama, but we know if it's up to him, he is going to give it a go because he is a competitor.
Anytime you can kind of put a smile on somebody's face, always a blessing.
Growing up, you kind of dream for that.
NBA Christmases, there's not really much better. It's always fun to go back to a place you had great success in.
Klay Thompson in the zone.
Especially compete against your old friends. I'm excited.
So after the Thunder, the top of the Western Conference is, as Stephen A. would say,
I am having a very bad day.
No, he wouldn't say that. He would say it's fluid. It's fluid because the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Lakers are separated by a game and a half. And the Lakers, they have an uphill battle to try to bite into that lead because Luka Doncic, he's not going to play tonight against the Suns after suffering what the Lakers are calling a lower left leg contusion against the Clippers. That was on Saturday, but it will be the 7th game missed by Doncic this season, who's leading the league in scoring at just over 34 points a game. So, with more on Luka and the Lakers, we welcome in our senior writer, Dave McMenamin. Dave, no Luka tonight, but I'm a little worried about Christmas Day. When do the Lakers anticipate Doncic returning to the floor here?
Malika, J.J. Redick said they're hopeful that Doncic should be able to give it a go. Right now, he's terming it as day-to-day. Now, the good news is that it's a calf contusion and not a calf strain. Obviously, when he was traded from Dallas to the Lakers last year, he was dealing with the calf strain. He missed some time earlier this season with a lower left leg injury. They're saying this is just a bruise, and so they're going to be working on some sort of wrap or perhaps padding that Luka can wear on the leg to protect from things like the knee that he took from Bogdanović in the Clippers game moving forward. But there's still a possibility, a very real possibility, that he feels good enough to go Thursday against the Rockets.
Okay, here's hoping that he's going to be able to give it a go here on Christmas Day. But it's not just Luka. The Lakers are missing nearly 62 points a game from their lineup, with Austin Reeves having missed his last 3 games. He's also dealing with a calf issue, but his is a calf strain. What's his status heading into tonight's game?
Well, early Christmas gift for Lakers fans. There will be Austin Reeves back in the lineup against the Suns after missing the last 3 games you mentioned, Malika. They termed it a mild calf strain. Every basketball fan has been paying attention to the league, particularly last year's playoffs. They hear calf strain, they say, oh no, Achilles. The Lakers just wanted to be cautious about the discomfort that Austin was feeling. He's ramped himself up in practice over the last several days, so he'll be in the lineup. You're also going to get DeAndre Ayton back in the lineup against the Suns, playing his former team. He missed the last 2 games with some soreness in his left elbow. Okay,
a little help is on the way here for Los Angeles. Dave, thank you so very much. And that brings us to today's thread post from our favorite big man, Big Perk. He weighed in. He said, Lakers Suns, LeBron versus Dylan. He says he's here for the smoke tonight, Mark. I got my popcorn ready. Fans, don't forget to keep the conversation conversation going on Threads. You can scan the QR code to jump in. But as our friend Perk said, that LeBron James, Dylan the Villain matchup, not only has it been fun, not only has there been smoke, it's actually dictated wins here in their last couple of matchups.
Yeah, you know, there was Lance Stevenson in the past. That was silly. This is deeper.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan, he's actually playing pretty well, but I don't know if there's anybody that gets under LeBron's skin like that. I mean, usually people are intimidated by him. He just blows them off. But this is the only guy, and Ramona knows this, that I don't know, like, this is different. Brings out a different emotion for LeBron.
Well, I was talking to somebody with the Lakers the other day, and they were like, it's real because Dylan doesn't stop. Like, Lance Stevenson, I mean, listen, if Dylan comes out and blows in his ear, I'm going to lose it. Like that, the Lance Stevenson, that's going to be next level. But it's that he doesn't stop. And I know it started in that Memphis series when Dylan was there. LeBron got the last word there, obviously. Sure. In the last game, Dylan hit the big three after he got into it with LeBron. But then he got ejected from the game. And the free throws ended up helping the Lakers win the game. So, like, in a way, Dylan is winning because he's getting under LeBron's skin, but he's also bringing some pretty good performances out.
Right. 2 games ago, it was Dylan that helped the Suns win the game in the absence of some of their stars. LeBron is getting some help back in this one, Ramona. But I go back to that Los Angeles Clippers game where, again, no Austin, no Luka, no DeAndre Ayton. They're going to have 2 of those tonight. But LeBron scored 36, and that wasn't enough against a really down Clippers team. What are they going to need to get back into the win column?
Well, I mean, I think getting DeAndre Ayton is really going to help because I think that interior defense, look, they don't have a great defense anyway. So
100 rankings. By the way, y'all, she's got 3 FIBA gold medals for Team USA, including this year's Under-19 World Cup. And she is the lone player in the top 5 who is still undecided for her school choice until a couple of minutes from now. Jersey, welcome to NBA Today.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to chat with you. This is a huge day for you, and we appreciate you coming into studio. But before you make your special announcement, for anyone at home who's about to become very familiar with your game, your dad taught you that you needed to have a lineman's mentality in basketball. Can you tell me, what does that mean?
Yes, linebacker mentality. Just to get after everything you want, to go hard in every situation. And, you know, he brought that football mentality into our training and stuff like that. So it's been my mentality growing up and playing the game.
Because he played, right?
He played football at Oregon State.
Okay.
Yes, and so he transferred that into our training.
And I love your path and your training because you've never taken the easy route ever. From 5th to 8th grade, you played on an all-boys basketball team. What did that teach you?
I think it's perseverance. You know, you're always doubted. You know, you don't belong playing with a bunch of guys. So it teaches you to prove the haters wrong and to really get after what you love.
I love the air quotes that go with it, you don't belong. Because, heck, yes, you do belong. And you've had just about every major college program in the country recruiting you, including our Mark Spears a couple minutes ago saying, hey, you sure you don't want to? We just have one more pitch for you that we want to make here. But I'm curious, what were your non-negotiables as you were going through this process?
Absolutely. I think I was driven by faith. You know, I prayed to the Lord. I sought him out. I asked him for direction and guidance. And so that was really, you know, the first thing for me is what aligned with his will and how I could be used as a vehicle for his will and his plan. Obviously a great program, somewhere that builds pros, a great relationship with my coaches, and then a family, you know, atmosphere that I can grow and become, you know, a woman off the court as well.
Faith, family, a great school, somewhere that builds professionals. There's a couple of schools that come to the top of my mind when I think about that. But before we get there, Jersey, is there a player that you're such a student of the game that you have been watching tape of that's helped to mold the woman you are today?
Absolutely. You know, you have your greats, you have your LeBrons, your Mikes. For me, as I get older, I think it's Kobe.
Yeah.
Studying the footwork, his fundamentals, his back to the basket game, his fadeaway, studying a lot of things like that. I think it's definitely grown my game.
I love that. I love that. And so many players evoke Kobe Bryant, both on and off the floor in terms of the mentality, and I can feel that coming from you. All right. Are you ready?
I am.
Jersey, it is the moment that everybody has been waiting for here. The floor is yours. Where will you be playing college basketball?
Most importantly, first off, I got to thank the Lord. He's been my strength, my peace, my guidance through everything, the ups and downs. I got to thank my mom, my dad, my brother, you know, my family, my support system who has sacrificed time, long hours, long nights, just to be there for me and to guide me in what I love. And then anybody that's poured into me, you know, from Arizona to Cali to Hawaii. I've had family, I've had coaches, I've had parents, I've had just people who have had my back and have guided me along the way. And with that being said, I got the garnet, I got the Black Cat 3s on. I'll be committing to the University of South Carolina.
Yes, ma'am! the University of South Carolina. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I cannot, when you were listing programs, it was like, all right, there's a place and a coach that absolutely comes to mind. And Jersey, speaking of that coach, you sent a video to your future head coach, Don Saley. Can we watch it together?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
I don't know how to answer. Oops.
What's up, Coach? Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, Jersey. Thank you, Jersey.
I just wanted to let you know I'm ready to be a Gamecock.
So I purposely didn't watch that video until this very moment.
Yes.
The turn up in the locker room,
Yes.
that reaction that they had that you were going to be joining the team, what did that mean to you?
I feel like it's home, it's peace, and you know I'm really excited for my next couple years in my next chapter.
We are so excited for you. And before, Jersey, we let you go, huge congratulations. But we thought that we weren't necessarily the best people to congratulate you. So we made a couple of phone calls, and we have a little surprise for you. Take a look.
Hey Jersey, welcome to the Gamecock family. You made the best choice. There's no place like Columbia. And if I can give you any piece of advice, I would say be on time. Set your alarm, AM, PM, whatever you need to do, be on time and make sure you're always on time. You'll benefit from it. But I'm so excited to watch you grow as a person and as a player and take the next step in your journey. Enjoy every moment, every minute, and before you know it, I'll be seeing you in the big leagues. You ready? I know you are. Go Gamecocks.
Oh, that's fire. That's fire.
Yeah, you like that?
Yes,
I mean, a message from one of the most dominant players in the game. And now part of that sisterhood. Jersey, congratulations on your commitment here to the Gamecocks, and thank you so much for stopping by NBA Today. We know you have a lot of celebrating to do, but we really appreciate the time.